Welcome to episode 83 of the Two Rash Challenges podcast. I'm Dave Lewis. That's Eric Neal. What's up, brother? Let's talk some footy. You're looking good.
Oh, hey, thanks. You know, it's all this fresh air in the northeast of England. It's doing me well.
Very nice. Yeah, the clouds. It looks very breezy there. It's nice. The crowd has come back, as I can see from your
Fall being is here. It's upon us. You know, we're doing good. Virtual St. James is beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, Ezra, that's my son, the engineer. Sorry, Eric basically has a background of St. James's Park, but I think he's there. I don't know if it's a background. Is it really a background?
Spiritually, I'm there.
Yeah. Let's get started, man. We only got a week until Premier League starts. It's exciting. I've got my Liverpool Nike jersey on, my kit. I love it. I want to talk some Liverpool. We'll get to the Messi stuff in a minute, but I wanted to talk about Barca and Liverpool. It looks like Barca's going to go after Gini Wijnaldum. Did you see this?
I did.
He's got 1 year left on his contract, which, you know, you're not going to get a lot of money for a player when they're only 1 year out. I get it. It looks like $15 million. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, $15 million. That doesn't seem right to me. This guy he's not even 30 yet. We're not going to play that game. I know he's under 30, but like maybe he's 29, something like that. I'm thinking 25 to 30. No?
I think 25 to 30. And I think the other thing that's really funny is like your fans have been slaughtering him. Like,
well, that doesn't make sense.
Like
whenever you go this route, Eric,
I bet he wants to leave. He's just like, I'm getting out of here, man. Like, Barca's a mess, but at least they're not going to like trash me the way you guys would never have won that Champions League without that comeback.
Do not lump me in with whoever weirdos you're talking to. They're not real Liverpool supporters.
No, it's not, and it's not most Liverpool supporters, but they're out there, man. Like I don't know. Like you guys have gotten so used to things going your way. A lot of your supporters, man, like any little crack at all in the armor, and they're got the knives.
Eric,
out.
You go to any club, and you go to their whiny pages on social media, you will find anybody who slags off any player on Arsenal, on Chelsea. If Pulisic doesn't play well, they'll be killing him for being a crappy American player. It's not just Liverpool. I'm not taking that anymore.
You're not?
No.
Why not?
I know. I'm going to have to because you're going to still be on the show next week. All right, let's go over this. Gini Wijnaldum to Barcelona. Makes sense for Barcelona. Great move. I mean, he would play really well in that system. Has he ever played for Ronald Koeman? I mean, I don't know. The Dutch connection? I don't know.
Yeah, he would have, definitely.
Right? So he probably likes him. That's why. So if I'm Liverpool, and that's the only way I'm getting Thiago, I know it sounds bad, but Gini, you did a great job for us. Sayonara. Sayonara. Because I'll take Thiago over him. Anyway. So
I saw something about Thiago, though, that not only is Gini going to sign for Barca, but so is Thiago.
I saw that too. Wouldn't that be a crapper, man? They get rid of Wijnaldum and Thiago, they lose Thiago as well.
Beautiful.
Look, I hate giving you any kind of fuel, but I am concerned in that they're not making any transfers whatsoever. We've gone over this ad nauseum about, okay, they're being cheap. You've called Liverpool cheap. The owner's cheap. Whatever. I don't like that they're not making a move. They're not going to make a move before the season starts. You know, They might make one in a couple weeks, but I'm concerned. So I wanted to go over something with you.
Okay.
I found a way for them to find $40 million or 40 million pounds. Sorry. I'm okay with them selling Ox. I'm okay. I think they spent $35 million on him. Let's get 20 for him. So that's 20 right there.
Did they really spend $35 million on him?
Yeah, it was a lot. I know. And I like him. I think Ox is good. I think he can come off the bench, spot start in the Premier League. I think he can spot start in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. Like, he's valuable. But we need money. It sounds like we need money. So 20 for Ox. Shaqiri. Why is he still on the squad? Give me $8 million for him. Can I get $8 million for him? I think so.
Yeah,
some squad could use him. He's still useful.
Yeah.
So I got $28 million. Karius. I thought he was gone. He's still there. Give me $5 million. Can I get $5 million for Karius?
$5 million for Karius?
Come on.
No.
Do I have to give you $5 million for Karius?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say we get 5. I'm going for 5. I'm going. So we're at 33. And then Marko Grujic, who I don't know even how to say his name, played at Hertha Berlin on loan. He's quality for Hertha Berlin. I'll take $4 million for him.
Okay.
$4 million. And then Ben Winburn, who's not going to get any time with, he's not going to get any time. Move on. We could get like $3 million for him. We're close to $40 million. There's your Thiago. By the way, there's your Timo Werner as well. You could get Timo Werner for 40. Oh, no, we said 50, right? Remember? 50?
No, it was in the 40s.
It's in the 40s. We'll go over that later. So I can find you 40 million to get Thiago or 35. Let's get going. So I know Klopp. He's not going to get any new players. He's looking for that diamond in the rough, like I said before, that one player who's going to come from the reserves, who has gotten some Premier League time, and between Nico Williams, Curtis Jones, and Rhian Brewster, find me one of those guys who's going to break into the first team, get me 20 games.
It's Wilson.
He's not breaking in.
No, he was on loan at Bournemouth last year, and he was good. He scored a lot of goals for them. If you're looking for someone
was that Swansea? Was that Swansea?
No, it was Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Was it Bournemouth?
I'm pretty sure it was Bournemouth.
It was Swansea.
He was in the Premier League, and he played every game.
Okay, all right. You're not talking about Callum Wilson, the guy you're getting for Newcastle, is it? You're not talking about him, are you?
No, Harry. Isn't it Harry Wilson? What's his name? What's that guy?
Yeah, but I don't think he played. He didn't play for Bournemouth, did he?
What the hell was the kid's name? Do I have the wrong kid? What was the kid that
you
played?
You have the wrong kid. No, you have the right kid, but I think he played for Swansea.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
How many Fudos we got on this, man?
Okay, look. If I have this right and you have this wrong on your team, this is –
Okay. All right. Bournemouth. You got Bournemouth. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is somebody is going to come from nowhere and break into this team, and that's like a new signing. So I know I'm reaching. I know you're going to call me for doing a reach around.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's – and if we have the same squad, we're going to be up there, but I don't like we haven't made a move. I agree with you, Eric. I don't want to get into why. That's all I got.
No, okay, look, I don't think – Klopp is going to put up with this. Now, if everything goes right and you guys like keep up the pace and are winning basically everything again, I think he'll cross his arms. He won't like it, but he'll be okay. But if anything starts to go wrong, this is going to piss him off. And
it's like Pochettino getting nobody at Tottenham. You know what I mean? Like nobody.
And at some point, though, you're going to be like, look, I've given you everything. And you're just taking it for granted, and you're fucking me around.
And he extended his contract. He's going to be like, I extended my contract.
Yeah.
I won you the Premier League. I won you Europe. Give me somebody. Give me $50 million to work with at least.
Right, and it's not like you don't have the money. That's the crazy thing.
So there's a disconnect there, isn't there? That I don't know.
It really is.
I don't know.
No, I don't know either. And so here we go. Harry Wilson, a footballer born 1997, plays for Liverpool.
I know who he is. I know who Harry Wilson is.
Yeah. So loaned to AFC Bournemouth.
2 years ago?
1920. He played 31 matches.
What am I thinking of on Swansea?
Had 7 goals and 2 assists in 31 matches for Bournemouth.
Who am I thinking of?
I have no idea who you're thinking of, but I'm actually more up to date on your academy players.
Stop it.
So,
all right, let's move on to Newcastle. That wonderful club. I hear you have huge signings. Huge.
Listen, this is the point of the show where we have to do the right thing and go to our man on the streets of Newcastle, Andrew Wells. But I'm actually.
You should be excited.
Optimistic. This is
you
crazy.
should. You know what? You should be excited.
Here's Andrew.
Hello, this is Andrew Wells, live from Newcastle, and here's the weekly report from the final pre-season games and fans' views going into the start of the Premier League. So, obviously, as I've just mentioned, there were 2 final pre-season games, one against Middlesbrough, and honestly, there was no media coverage or anything during the game over here. And we're just like, and then when you see the result, you're like, thank God there wasn't, because we got hammered 5-1 off Middlesbrough. And when everyone's like looking, they're just like, what the fuck? Like, because if no one was aware, Middlesbrough just avoided relegation last season. So when you've got all that lot, and then there was us conceding 5 against them, just shows just how bad the defence really is in the team, and just how vital to Bradford was, because obviously Darlow was in goal for most of the game. So although fans have started like turning on Darlow a little bit, saying they've just got zero confidence, and sadly I'm one of them. Just when I look at the highlights of the game, you're just like, his positioning's poor and everything, but a lot of it isn't his fault, I'll admit. It's mostly defenders, but like some are. It's more 50-50 if I'm being honest. But I'll kind of leave that there because I don't want to make people depressed again. And then we'll move on to the Stoke game. And basically, when we saw the team, we're like, oh dear God, because we only had one fit centre back going in, and it's still the same now. So we're kind of knackered, really, in defence. So hopefully, we're getting another centre back in before the window closes, and it should actually be okay. Although there was one player that stuck out in the loss against Stoke, which we lost 1-0, and that was Dan Barlaser. Again, I mean, obviously he hasn't had Premier League experience, so this is all be new to him. So then, obviously, hopefully, he kicks on from this, and because some of the balls he was playing through when you see the highlights, they were like, you're just looking in awe. I mean, he played a fantastic ball for Jacob Murphy, who, in all honesty, should have finished it, but he didn't. So obviously now, with the news, which I'll get on later, it should be a little bit different if he plays. So that's the last I'll speak about that one as well. And obviously I'll move on to some big news that came out over this week in transfer market, and that is that all of a sudden Newcastle went and just splashed the cash. Unbelievably. I mean, we don't know if someone stole Mike Ashley's wallet or what, but we've basically ended up signing Callum Wilson on a permanent 4-year deal for around £20 million, and obviously everybody's buzzing about this signing. I mean, it's basically one of the biggest signings we've had since Mike Malone, really, and that's just saying something about how back it goes. So that's just a funny one. And then we've also got it's either going to be announced later during today or tomorrow that Ryan Fraser is set to also join the club on a free. So we get him. We've basically got a lethal duo since 2 seasons ago. Fraser and Wilson were actually the second highest combo in Premier League history, with goals only behind Shearer and only behind one of Shearer's previous strike partners. So it looks good. And there's also talk that Wilson's going to be getting the number 9 shirt. So no pressure, Wilson. But another news as well, was set again two left backs come in. Although there's speculation on this one because we've got a Brazilian left back who plays for Swazul, I believe is how you say it in Italy. He's coming in for around €14 million apparently. But we've also got Jamal Lewis, who's coming in from Norwich, who will actually beat Liverpool. Well, Liverpool wanted him in January, but we've managed for 20 million, but we've managed to knock him for 12 million. So it's a brilliant sign. He's a brilliant player if you haven't seen him play. I mean, he was in a lackluster Norwich side, but he played absolutely fantastic last season and even scored a cracking goal. And obviously, he's on international duty at the minute, so that's looking more like a Thursday announcement for that. But obviously, I'll talk more when these signings come through and that, and also the review on West Ham, and also the cup game, which is in this week as well against Blackburn. So until then, I'll talk to you all later.
All right, as always, I want to thank Andrew for that report. Like I was saying before we went to the report, things were a little gloomy, especially with the 2 friendly matches that we had that he went over. Shambolic to say the least. But as we were even recording, things were happening, and we've got now at this point confirmed. And my quote all the time to people on Twitter is, "I'll believe it when they're holding the shirt." Right?
Yeah.
Because you always have, this is going to happen, and they're flying in for medical, and I heard from the agent, and then it falls through. when they're holding the shirt in the stadium, that's when the deal is actually done. And after we recorded this afternoon, we got the picture of Frazier actually holding the shirt. So we've done 3 deals already before the season started. I don't even know what's happening right now because first things first, we did 3 deals. And I would have bet my mortgage, the whole house, everything, that the fat cockney bastard wasn't going to spend a penny this offseason. Yeah. And look, we've got 2 of the 3 were on free transfers, right? They were out of contract. So, but still, and you had to go and sign them.
I'll give you Karius.
We've got Hendricks in the midfield, solid player. We've got Frazier on the wing. And then Callum Wilson, a proper, actual double-digit Premier League striker.
No, I know.
This is insane. And then Joel Lewis from Norwich, the left back, has left his national team duty to come take a medical tomorrow, and he'll be holding the shirt up tomorrow. So we'll have done 4 deals for actual, proper Premier League experienced players that all of a sudden, I don't know what this feeling is.
Hold on a second. The players you're getting, though, are clubs that are around you. So it's not like you've elevated you've gotten more players, but it's not like you've gone and gotten Chelsea players or you've gotten they're players all around your team.
We never were going to do that.
Right.
The fact that we got 4 players and every single one of them will start and make our team better, it doesn't matter.
All 4 start? All 4?
Okay, so we have Paul Dummett. Yeah. And we had on loan Jetro Willems last year.
Right, who you like. You like a lot.
Okay, but he's not coming back. And if he was coming off an ACL. Yeah. So instead, we get one of the top prospects in England at left back. We get Lewis in. So he's a guaranteed starter. Hendricks, if you look at our midfield, he'll come in because, I mean, it's like Hayden, Shelvey, Hendricks, like that type of player. He's definitely – and at least at their level, and probably a lot more consistent.
Are any of the Longstaff brothers are they gonna break through this season?
No, yeah, they're still there, and Maddie signed a contract finally, so that's good. But Hendricks in. Obviously, Callum Wilson is going to start.
Well, he's going to start. What is the system Bruce is going to play? Are you going to play 2 up top?
I think it's going to be if it's 3-5-2, which is kind of what we've been doing. Yeah. But I mean, you look at so you're going to have here's how I would set it up anyway.
It's not Jolinton Wilson up top, is it?
No, here's how I would do it. Yeah. I would really do the 4-2-3-1, right? Yeah. And so you could put Shelvey and Hendricks in the mid there, the defensive mid roles. You're going to end up with we got with Manquillo. Well, if you go to the back, of course it's Dubravka, but you'll have Jamal Lewis, you'll have Lascelles, Lejeune, and then Manquillo at right back. So solid. The defense has been solid, not our problem.
Not your problem.
And then if you have, say, Hendricks and Shelvey or Hendricks and Hayden in those 2 in the holding roles there in the midfield, and then you go across the 3 attacking midfielders, look at this. So if you put Almiron behind the striker, and then you got on the right wing St. Maximum and the left wing Frazier, that right there is the paciest attacking midfield in the whole damn thing. And Wilson up top. Yeah. That, to me, that's not a team that's going to get relegated, even with the Cabbage in charge.
John Joe, am I wrong? I feel like John Joe pushes forward. He doesn't feel like that true holding in the 2 in the 2.
Well, here's the problem. He gets, and this happens.
It's very forward.
This happens to everybody. He drops deeper and deeper and deeper as we're pinned in because he can't get the ball. So ideally, he would like to push forward, but in those 2 roles, one of the 2 is usually like going up to push the ball forward, and the other one's covering. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, shit, that's not a bad.
Yeah, you look excited, and that's what worries me for you.
No, I'm telling you, we went from if we didn't sign any of those people. Yeah. Guaranteed relegation and the worst football you've ever seen, and just 38 matches.
To 13th to 16th place, you feel anywhere in that area?
I'm thinking 10th to 13th.
We're going to do a preview show later this week, an extra podcast. Please think about that prediction for our 10th to 13th. No way. No way.
Why not? Didn't we just get 13th? The team's better than we were last year. Why would
it was the crappiest, according to you, the crappiest Premier League, weakest season of all time.
Yep.
You marginally strengthen your club. Marginally.
No. This is not.
You're pitting way too much. Bruce will screw this up.
I'm not saying he won't. I do agree with you on this. I completely agree with you.
All right, I'm leaning towards 13th. You're leaning towards 10th. I'm leaning more towards 15th, 16th. Because you had him like almost relegated last weekend to like you got some good signings, okay signings. Yep. That doesn't bring you to 10th to 13th. That brings you to 14th, 15th, maybe.
Okay, listen.
Or just barely surviving.
We'll see who's closer in our prediction.
Oh, we will. You to 85 points or under for Liverpool, and me, there's no way Newcastle gets above 14th. No way. Okay. All right. We'll get to that. All right. I want to get to the biggest news this week about Messi. I'm sure you have an opinion about this. As everybody knows, unless you've been under a rock, Messi is staying at Barcelona, but reluctantly. He wants to leave. He told the president he wanted to leave all year. I want to leave. There might be a lawsuit pending. And Messi basically says, I'll stay, but reluctantly, because I don't want Barcelona to go through a legal case. I thought he showed some class and said, like, look, I don't want to see Barcelona go through this lawsuit. It's my club I've been with for 20 years. I have no problem with how Messi handled it. I thought he did it with class. The guy usually doesn't do interviews. You don't usually hear much from him. So to hear him really be candid. But he threw Bartomeu under the bus. He was like, he didn't protect him at all. He was like, no, that guy lied to me. That guy was a bastard. That guy said I could leave, and he reneged. So what's your opinion about all this? Can any player put this behind them and play for a whole year without it being a distraction, even though he's so good? I don't know.
He'll be a professional.
Yeah.
I think he'll show up and he'll do the job. But he is 100% guaranteed gone at the end of the year. Yeah. And really, this is the worst possible outcome for Barca because they don't have the money. They've been – you think of them as this, like the same as Real Madrid where they've got – or Manchester United where they just have money for days. They've spent incredibly poorly recently.
Dembele, Coutinho, all these players.
Griezmann's been a flop. All of them over $100 million in transfer fees each. So they don't really have the money to do the rebuild that they need to do. And so now what you've done is you've taken away the possibility where Manchester City would have handed you 200 million pounds, not euros. So we're looking at what, 240, 250 million euros that you could have gone and bought 5 or 6 really, really good young players that would have set you up for the future. And you've got your manager in that you feel like is the one to take you forward. And you could have set on this project, let Messi leave with his happiness and his dignity to go try something else. And instead what you've done now is forced him into staying. So he's like, cool, I'll stay. His heart won't be in it. And you'll be left with nothing at the end of the year.
And he doesn't respect the coach.
Right. Oh, no, I guarantee you, let Koeman get in his face even a little bit and watch him like, the hammy's a little tight. I'm not, no, man, really. Or that through ball, and he kind of just is like, it wasn't right to my feet, or it wasn't into the right space.
Is there any comparison to Bale at all? I'm just saying.
No.
Messi's over here, Bale's over there. Like, the way Messi handled it.
No
class, the way Bale handled it.
Messi's too professional for that.
Yeah.
But
I'm saying Bale. Could Bale have handled it like Messi? Could he have been like, okay, Zidane hates me. Everybody hates me here. But I'll be a professional and play as hard as I can and be a great teammate. I won't play golf. I feel like there's no real comparison. I understand. But Bale kind of sat out a season. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, eh.
Yeah. Bale can
Messi could do that.
Yeah, because he hasn't been doing anything but playing golf. No, I'm telling you, what does Barca win out of this? Do they think that, like, having him come back to play for a manager who's already pissed him off with a bunch of players who are not up to his standard of play is going to somehow be this romantic season that gets him to change his mind and want to retire there. No, this is a complete travesty. It's a disaster. It sucks for us because we were going to get to see him play for Manchester City, still at the peak of his powers, which would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
It would have given them money for the rebuild. I don't know why. Why would you do it? Why?
It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like the Liverpool thing for me of like, we don't know behind the scenes everything unless this president Bartomeu is just insane and just crazy. There's got to be something behind the scenes we don't know because it doesn't make any sense. Even if you got 100 million, you're getting nothing next year. Barcelona's getting zero from Messi. There's no transfer fund. There's nothing. You could have negotiated, even if it was 100 million or 75 million. It's better than zero, which is what you're getting.
Got 200. It wouldn't have been a big deal.
No, I know. I mean, they're not winning the Champions League. Maybe they win. They could possibly win La Liga next year, but who cares about that at this point? They're not going to do anything this year on the field that's going to be – unless Messi just carries them on their back, and that's not going to work. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, nuts. Absolutely nuts.
So I just want to kind of run around Europe a little bit here. Chelsea, I looked at their signings. Basically, they get a striker, 2 midfielders, 2 defenders. They spend over £200 million. Like, this is the opposite of Liverpool.
Oh. Hold on.
What?
So I saw an interesting tweet.
Uh-oh.
Okay? This is the good part. My notes that I made here are Chelsea are out net spending Liverpool.
Oh, boy. It comes back to Liverpool.
You've got Ziyech,
yes.
38 million.
Yes.
Werner, 47 million. Kai Havertz, 72 million.
Yeah.
Right? For a total of 155
then
million.
you got Thiago for center back. They paid a decent amount for him.
He came on a free, though.
Oh, he did? I thought they paid him something. No?
No, I think he came on a free.
My bad.
Real Madrid. Chilwell. They did pay for Chilwell. Real Madrid gave them 143 million for Eden Hazard, and they didn't go out and spend any money because they were in the ban.
Right.
So if you look at this, they've got a 12 million pounds layout for all.
That's net spend, Eric. Hey, Liverpool used to do that. We were kings of the net spend.
You were the kings of the net spend. So as much as I hate the net spend, Chelsea, I was sitting there going, how are they going to do this with financial fair play? This is insane. They could go get Oblak. They
did spend Pulisic money. The Hazard money was a little of it. They bought Pulisic, right?
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, like, if you look at this, though,
I know.
They could go and they could buy an Oblak and a center back and still be completely because they had that ban. They were bringing money in that whole time and they weren't spending it. They could go get whoever they want. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go out and get a top quality. So you either get, I'm thinking that Upamecano guy from Leipzig rather than Koulibaly because I think he's younger.
Yep.
And
he's 21. I think he's like 21. He's really young.
And Koulibaly's like 29 or something. So, I mean, bring the Upamecano kid in.
I agree.
And then get Oblak.
Some people say he's going to be one of the best defenders in the world one day. I'd rather go with the 29. And Koulibaly also dropped off a little bit, and he's 29.
Yeah.
I'd go for the Leipzig.
Kid. But think about it. They could afford, and it would cost you probably half the money.
Yeah.
You could probably get him for 45 instead of 90. But so, I mean, look, I would beg them, say, please take Kepa away from here. He's a nut.
Lampard doesn't like him at all.
Well, no, do you remember how bad he did Sarri? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. You want me to come off? I'm not coming off. I've never seen anything like it at that level in my life. Yeah.
I mean, Frank would have gone out and grabbed him by the scruff of the neck.
It's insubordination. Like, the guy was like, I know you're the gaffer. He, like, waved him off.
This is why Sarri gets sacked everywhere he goes. I feel like he's like this nice guy or whatever, but then no one respects him because, I mean, any other manager, I swear, do that to Klopp. But you think Klopp's gonna? He would go from that like happy teddy bear German in a second to like the Terminator, and he would drag your ass off the field. No way.
Here's the thing for Chelsea. I still think they improved a lot. I mean, a ton, but not where they needed to. I mean. I think they need another central defender. Thiago's 35 years old. I mean, he's going to help. He's going to help. But
I love their signings, but those weren't the areas they needed signings.
Chilwell was okay. That's a good signing.
That is a good signing. So, I mean, if they really get Oblak, that's who you want. I mean, this guy, you're not getting Allison away from Liverpool. You're not getting Ederson away from City. So the only one left, if you're going, I mean, Ter Stegen's probably not leaving Barca, but
we talked about Donnarumma, but he's not.
I prefer Oblak to Ter Stegen anyway. But I mean, you go get him. You just say, how much do you want? I don't care. I'll write the check. They're like 100 million, and you're like, fine. Write the check, and you get him, and then you get another center back, and then that team is challenging for the title. I'm telling you.
Right. For the title, you really if that happens, what about as of today? I mean, we'll get into our predictions, but I don't think
so because they're going to ship goals. You can't look. They think we'll just win every match 5-4.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work. When you get into the higher level teams, it's more difficult. And when you get around those stubborn bottom level teams that just park the bus, one of the most frustrating things in football these days, because like Jose used to do that stuff, but there was more technique and substance and style to it, where it wasn't just shove 11 guys in the box and just boot things long. It's incredibly terrible to watch people that park the bus and you just sit there and watch people try and break them down all day. And if you're Chelsea, you'll start throwing all the numbers forward. This is what happened to them. This is how they always got scored on. They got frustrated. They started going back and forth, sideways passing, trying to break them down. And then they'd lose the ball and they'd boot some long ball and some guy would run up there and score a goal. And they're still going to be susceptible to that if they don't sort out the center back goalkeeper.
Do you think Pulisic, with all these signings, because he brings a different skill set than some of the players they got, actually. So in a weird way, for me, he should be starting most games still. Yeah. I still think he should be starting most games.
No, people have him, like people have been doing their, predicted best 11 lineup for next season, whatever. And it's Werner up top. Mm-hmm. And then Kai Havertz guy in the middle, Ziyech on the right, Pulisic on the left.
Yeah, I agree.
And then you got Kovacic and Conte behind.
You don't think it's a 4-3-3 kind of a? You don't think he's going to play with like a Pulisic on the right, Werner down the middle? You don't think it'll be more?
Okay, so it's either like that 4-2-3-1, or I mean, it depends how you line it.
It looks like
4-3-3. It's going to be Ziyech, Werner, and Pulisic, and then behind them would be Havertz, Conte, and Kovacic.
I'm seeing Conte. They're thinking they could get a lot for him. They're thinking about might sell him. I don't think they should either. No.
If you want to win the league, like he was injured a lot last season.
Yeah, he had an off season.
Yeah. He had an off season. But that guy, I think, is probably the most responsible person for the year when Leicester.
He's their Jordan Henderson.
Oh, geez.
He is.
No,
you might laugh, but that's the kind of player. Like no stats, but he's All right, let's move on. I'm not talking about the Nations League because I'll get to that later in the show. Unless you want to hit some points about that bogus tournament.
I watched a little bit of.
We'll get to it. Because
No. Netherlands, Italy today, and it was brutal, man. Yeah. I was like, no.
I have more important things to talk about.
Oh, good.
You texted me the other night, Saturday night, saying, "Hey, man, you gotta check out this Spurs documentary."
Oh, and I'm like, yes.
Oh my God. Okay, what is it? I'll check it out. It's called Tottenham All or Nothing, right?
Yep.
And it's all access documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. I'm sure people around the world get Amazon Prime. And basically, it's just behind-the-scenes look at Jose Mourinho, a season with him this past season. After Pochettino gets fired, you actually see him get fired.
Yep.
But most of it's about Jose Mourinho, and it's amazing. There's been 3 episodes so far, right, Eric?
No, I just watched 4 earlier today, and 5's loaded up. 5's loaded up, yeah.
Oh my God, I've only seen the first 3. It's epic. It's awesome. I get to see Jose Mourinho in a new light. Now, I'm having a hard time watching him because I don't like him. And I hate it that you texted me and said, you're starting to like him, aren't you?
You
are. I was
like,
I am. I like his style behind the scenes better than with the press. I don't like him with the press. I don't like his stuff on the sidelines. I don't like some of his stuff, but seeing his human side, being in his office when he got the job, he's unpacking his box, he's watching TV, he's nice to employees. And then, but then I got to see the side of him when he yells at Dele Alli and saying he's lazy trainer.
He is.
And he gets in people's faces and gives them honest feedback, which is good.
But did you hear what he said? This is the part that I really appreciated about him, because we have no even idea how political it is.
Yeah.
But these type of things are often very political. It depends on who your agent is. There's behind the scenes stuff happening. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on that affects if you're going to be one of the players that gets to start, if you like make the bench, if you get shipped out. Like some people make it, some people don't. It's not always just 100% on footballing merit. And he came out and said to them, look, everyone's like, you're a big bastard and all this. And guess what? They're pretty much right. But what you can guarantee from me is that you will never wonder about like why you're not starting or why you weren't chosen for the.
No, he's straight up.
Or whatever. He's like, I will never ever have you like wondering about what you need to improve on or this. I will let you know, and you can at least be sure that I'm always going to be straight with you and treat you like with respect. To me, that's who you really want as a manager. He
does a lot of things right that I didn't know he did, that I liked behind the scenes. But when he took Eric Dyer off after 30 minutes, and Dyer looked like he died.
No, he did.
I mean, he looked like they showed him in the locker room when he came off in the 30th minute. He goes back. It's halftime. He looks despondent. Like basically he's never going to play again.
Yeah.
And that was one of Mourinho's guys. Mourinho even said to Dyer, "Hey man, because Dyer used to play in Portugal.
Yeah.
Dyer was one of his guys, and he tried to sign him even. And even Jose just totally crushed him with that. And I was like, man, he even crushed one of his guys. He'll do he's ruthless for winning.
Yeah,
ruthless.
See, that's where I shouldn't even say like he and I are alike, but I think that's why I enjoy him so much. That's why
the rude, disrespectful, not the soccer acumen.
No, it's not. It's none of that. It's the winning. Like I don't understand people who don't take it as serious as I take it. Like it doesn't matter what I'm playing. It doesn't matter like racing my kid, like throwing, playing.
No, I can attest to your.
It doesn't matter. It is an actual affront to my humanity. Like when I lose something, I cannot stand it. And
you're like Michael Jordan. Remember they said, he'd play flip a coin with his kids, and if he lost, he'd go crazy, go ballistic. You're one of the most competitive people I know. I've played FIFA with you a couple times. Like I really didn't give a shit if I won or not. You played our good friend John Beaker, man. You wanted to crush him. You wanted to crush everybody. Your kid Aiden. You don't let him win to give him confidence.
Never. I don't believe in letting people win things. What does that do for you?
It would have helped my confidence if you let me win in FIFA once in a while.
No, look, I've moved on. I've become more sophisticated in my competitiveness, where I don't do the trash talking like, haha, you lost.
Yeah, I know.
No, but you can tell with Jose when he's talking to those players, it pains him, like the whole idea of it. And I think that's what really went wrong with him at Manchester United was you've got these world superstars. Look, Pogba has really turned it around under Ole and seems like his attitude's a lot better and he's putting in, better performances.
Yeah.
But he was the epitome of that thing that I'm talking about where Mourinho is expecting something out of him as a professional, as a man, as like a teammate of this. And he wasn't getting it. And I'm sure he told Pogba right to his face. And this is someone who's probably was very good from a very young age and been coddled and told you're the greatest his whole life. And it probably threw him for a loop that someone was like, that's shit. That performance is shit. Your attitude is shit. I don't like it. I think it's trash. But that's Jose, and that's what he expects. And that's what I just love about the man. Like you see him like he's talking to them. He's like, I don't understand why you're not as fucking pissed off as I am right now. Like it's just a beautiful thing. But then you went and saw what he did. I don't know if it was the episode you haven't seen yet, but he talks to Levy after the match where he pulled Dyer out, and he's like, normally that's the death of a player and everything. He's like, I think I'm going to have to, for the good of the family, start him in the next match to get his confidence back, to just let him know that.
That's good. That's good.
And he even told everybody after, he was like, look, that wasn't just Eric. We had to sacrifice
I know. I heard
Eric.
that one.
Yeah. And so to me, that was a really brave and sketchy thing to do, because you could just shatter somebody that way.
He looked shattered.
But he was shattered. But to bring him back to say, I really don't want to start him in the next match, but for the good of everyone, including him, I think it's the right thing to do.
It was interesting. Like, you talked about players and it's political and all this stuff. Christian Eriksen was interesting. He didn't start any of the few games for Mourinho when he got the job, and because he wanted to leave the club. But it's interesting how he handled him. Then he'd bring him in for 20 minutes at a time. Because I always wondered, Christian Eriksen was even quality then.
Yeah.
I was like, why isn't he using him?
It sends a bad message. But it sends a bad message to the other players. You got this guy that's like, I don't want to be here, and then he still gets to start and play every game, when everyone else is busting their ass. I don't know. I'm telling you,
it's a great documentary. I recommend it to anybody, man. It's Daniel Levy. He gets a bad rap. Watching him so far, and maybe it changes, I have a little more respect for the guy. He seems like a good businessman, and that's what he is. It seems like he does care about the club. It shows some of the dealings with the NFL, with that horrible NFL commissioner who I hate. What's his name? Goodell? Oh, God. But anyway, my point is, he's a businessman. He opens up this new stadium for $1 billion. He seems to care about the club. I kind of liked how he talked with Mourinho. He gets known as being cheap and too meddlesome, but I had a little more respect for the guy, for leaving. He doesn't seem as bad as everybody makes him out to be.
This is what I like about this documentary. Now, I enjoyed the Sunderland Till I Die.
That was good too.
I didn't really watch it because for a long time, because I'm like, fuck Sunderland. Like, why do I want to watch that trash? But it was very well done, and there's something about this. Like, I have no connection to Spurs or whatever. I like Jose, but it's not. I'm not.
You've never seen him like this, though, Jose Mourinho.
You've never seen anybody like this. I feel like it's what the Hard Knocks, the NFL documentary does or tries to do. But I've never seen these people who we hold up and like on a pedestal, we put them on a pedestal and we worship them and all this, that are just regular human beings that have fears like we have and are insecure about some stuff.
Put chapstick on their lips before the game,
right.
Jose Mourinho.
And to hear them talking with each other and like Delhi's like banter with the physios about, okay, what do you think about this one? What's your favorite one of these songs?
Yeah, it was like, do you put water on the toothbrush first or after or toothpaste first, then the water? It was like kind of stupid, but it was funny.
But I mean, I love it so much. Wellesley is waiting until all of them are out so he can binge it and just watch it in a row. And I'm like, I should have done that, because now that I'm doing it, I'm hooked. I'm addicted.
No, I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was Jose Mourinho basically gets the job, and he's in his new office. He finishes unpacking his stuff, which is kind of fun to watch. And he's sitting there at his desk, got a big TV in front of him, and Sky Sports is on, and somebody's criticizing him, saying, well, Jose's this, Jose's that. And to make a long story short, he's basically turns the TV off and says, fuck off. I was like, that's awesome.
It wasn't for the camera. It was so genuine,
and he didn't want to do this documentary. He said, I don't want cameras. But he seemed like he was a good sport. He gave good access.
This will, I guarantee you, this was one of those jobs where they were like, people were saying it might be a make and break job for him because of like what's happened in recent history and how badly his last couple positions have ended at the clubs. This really could be the thing that, even if it does sour at Spurs, that gives him another opportunity somewhere else, because people are just going to have a whole different idea about him. Like, I intuitively just liked him from the little bit I knew about him, but now I'm like, this guy's the greatest ever. I love this guy. And who knows if it's just such a well-made documentary that they're stringing us along that way, or if it's how he really is or whatever. But I don't know, man. It's great.
It's good stuff, man. All right, let's move on to our Columbus Crew real quick.
Yep.
They had another good week. They beat Philadelphia 1-0. Boring game. It was horrible to watch, but Zelleran, who's next to Nagbe, I'd say Zelleran and Nagbe are the best players on that team. Zelleran is such a good player. He hits this beautiful shot from outside the 18, I think. Slight deflection, but it was a nice goal. They win 1-0, but horribly boring game. Their offense looks terrible. Right. But the real fun game was the Hell is Real Derby, which I didn't get to see because I don't have cable and I couldn't find the damn game. Whatever, that's another story for another day. But they beat Cincinnati, FC Cincinnati, 3-0. I saw the highlights.
I watched the game.
I know you have cable. You kept cable.
The first half was brutal. It was an absolute repeat of the Derby match we had a couple weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah. When it was 0-0. Yeah.
We just parked the bus and we had no ideas. And I think I even tweeted that out to somebody because they were like, "Oh, they were complaining about Cincinnati," and I'm like, I get it. It's very annoying and it's very frustrating, and no one likes to watch it. But here's an idea: if they always do it, and you know they always do it. And your plan for dealing with it pretty much doesn't usually work, why not maybe think about trying something different? Because now I'm just sitting here again. At this point, I'm at 120 minutes of watching these teams play in the last couple of weeks. Of them parking the bus and us trying to pass it all around and nothing happening. Yeah. But then the floodgates open.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was.
Well, the problem was they started Fernando Adi, so they can't score against Cincinnati in the first game. And then in this game, they're starting Adi instead of Zardes. I'm like, they're definitely not going to score a goal now. But Pedro Santos had a huge game. And Luis Diaz down the right, I saw in the highlights, was just killing it with crosses and a great pass on the first goal to Santos. And then Zardes comes in for the brace. That guy's an MLS scoring machine, man.
Look, I'm telling you, brand new baby, too. He did his, rocking the baby celebration. It was so good, yeah. And they were good goals, man. They were
good goals. They were good goals. So there were fans in the stands. What did you think of that? The crew let some people in. I don't know how many people, maybe like 1,000?
No, 1,500, I think. 1,500? Matt hit me up, and he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I'm waiting for the all clear, man.
I'm not going back.
Nah. Look, I don't want to go. I jokingly even said, I'm like, oh, it looks like a regular crew game because it was like scattered people all over the stands. I'm like, this is no different. The only difference was that Nordeca wasn't full.
Yeah.
Because what you usually see if you have a long history of watching crew matches on television and not being at the matches, what you'll see is they always put the camera on the supporter section,
which is like packed, and you're like,
it's packed and great atmosphere. But if you get the actual game going and they pan across, it's a little thin. So we're hopeful that the new stadium will rectify some of that, but I don't know, man.
So a little bonus to ask you something. All right. I know you're not the biggest MLS fan in the world, but right now the crew is 7 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 23 points. They're way ahead in the Supporter Shield. They're in first place, obviously in the East. Do you care? Do you care? Is it if they were 3-5-2, you really wouldn't care. But now that they're in first place and they look really good, do you care a little more?
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, all right.
No, I've watched every one of the matches. They're playing Chicago next, which should be another slam dunk.
No, they could be 8 wins. 8 out of 11.
Look, here's the thing. I'm worried because we had that match where we got knocked out in the tournament. Like, we should have won that tournament.
I know.
Like, there's no reason we shouldn't have won that tournament. And I feel like we're susceptible. I feel like this has got the amazing regular season early out of the playoffs feel to it for some reason. I don't know why. I shouldn't feel that way. Maybe they will pull it together, but they have these specialist managers like the San Jose manager and like that are good for knockout football. And I don't know if that's us or not, but I really want to win the Supporter Shield really badly because
that's the real thing.
No, and it's the real thing, and it gets you in the CONCACAF Champions League. So that will give us an opportunity. Maybe if they get another big player and open the stadium and like that, maybe possibly we could be that first team that wins it and gets to the club.
And we get another big signing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We have to. If you do not get a big name signing to open that stadium,
what if they think Zellerian was the big signing?
No,
they tell you
that's not what I'm talking about. That's not it. Look, I love him.
Yeah.
Club record transfer. Great signing. I'm not complaining one little bit. Going back to what we've said, like part of my beef with the crew is that the atmosphere at the matches, besides the squeezed in, compressed supporter section, is brutal. This is a good sports town. I don't know why it's not, supporting the team. But if you want it to be different, if you want to get that casual person that really doesn't usually bother to come in and pay the inflated prices and go to the fancy shiny new stadium and not have another Red Bull Arena situation where you got a beautiful stadium half full, you're going to have to get somebody that even people who aren't, big football supporters will go, ooh, I know that name. I've heard that person before. And
funny thing, if you always brought up like a Dwight Gale, that's a big deal to you and me. To most people, nobody gives a shit.
That's not it.
Yeah.
But I would think my point with Dwight Gale was if you put him on this team, then we win MLS Cup.
Yeah.
So if you
look at Zardes, look how many goals Zardes scores.
We almost don't really need him. I mean, Zardes is doing great. I'm happy with him as the striker. But
give me like.
Okay, look at Blaise Matuidi going to Inter Miami.
That's cool.
And Fat Higuain's coming right behind him. Like those. If you say like Gonzalo Higuain,
I'm in.
People know who you're talking about.
Like I told you, just take his brother's jersey and tell everybody it's him who came and
Bobby wearing his jersey. I love it. No, but they need to do something. Not now. I understand the finances and everything, but if we're not all dead, if the world hasn't come to an end,
yes.
I mean, I'm hoping 2020 is like just the worst year in the history of keeping record of things.
And 21?
Somehow in 2021, like starts to get back to some sort of.
You got a vaccine, everybody's out, right. And we appreciate life again.
Exactly. And next summer, we're marching to the stadium after drinking in the bars all day, and there's a brand new big player that is holding up the shirt, man. That's what we need. I'm telling you, but they're missing an opportunity. Because here's the thing. If you pack it in the beginning, then the challenge is to keep it full. If you don't pack it in the beginning, you only get one chance for your restart.
Well, look at the LA Galaxies of the world. They just continually, that's their MO. We got to get that star. All right. Beckham leaves. Then Zlatan, Chicharito. They just keep going with getting fans who know football to get into the stadiums. Like if LA Galaxy is just a bunch of okay players, MLS players, people aren't going to go to LA Galaxy games. Yeah, they're just not.
But look at LAFC. Opened a new stadium, but got big name players that made sense for what they were trying to do and for the market that they were in, and filled the stadium from the beginning. We're not the brand new shiny thing, but we've got a brand new shiny building coming. And if you don't do something to launch it, you might get the first match or the first few full. If it drops off, it's going to be real hard to do a second relaunch and say, oh, okay, now here's what we're trying to do to get it full. So
bonus ask you anything.
Do something.
Right. Bonus ask anything. MLS question. So if you are LAFC, okay, LAFC were dominant from the minute they got into the league. Great players, great record. But the thing is with MLS is, like Atlanta. Now Atlanta stinks, and LAFC are just tanking right now because they don't have any defense. They got rid of good players. My question to you is, you don't see that in the Premier League or the other leagues. You don't have these dominant teams like Atlanta who are so dominant, then you just fall off the face of the earth. It just doesn't happen. Is that the charm of MLS or is that the weakness of MLS? Is that what makes it good, or that other teams can just become dominant 3 years later? I don't know.
Here's my problem.
Parity. I don't know.
I always get accused of being MLS basher, whatever.
Yeah.
The football in general.
And Liverpool.
Liverpool. The football in general is not pleasing to watch.
No.
Our friends over at Bryant and me, Thomas especially, is a huge promoter of women's football. And we've had a lot of our national team players who are playing in the NWSL here go over to England and sign up to play. So I
exodus,
watched Sam Mewis on Manchester City. Lavelle, I think, was in quarantine still and couldn't play. But Villa played City, and I think it was at Villa Park. And it was more entertaining. And I even put this out in the tweet. I said, I'm not saying it's better quality. I'm not comparing it to the men, but I'm saying it was more enjoyable to watch, and the commentary was better than watching MLS. It was. And the beautiful thing is, an organization like City, and they're kind of like Red Bull in that way, they have a philosophy and a way that they play that shows up, that if it's the youth teams, if it's the under 23s, if it's the women, if it's the
Australia, they have a team in Australia, in New York.
They play the same way, and you watched and you were like, oh, this is like watching the Man City men play, like what they were doing. And it was easier on the eye. Now, I don't know what that's down to. Now, you have the rare teams like the LAFCs or whatever. But if you're just getting a Sporting Kansas City FC Dallas match, it's not enjoyable to watch.
I know.
If you look at it, it's agricultural. I don't know how else to explain it.
No, I know.
I mean,
All right, well,
it's like a very good college match.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the crew have been more entertaining. I have a vested interest, so that makes it more enjoyable to watch. But I don't know, man. I just that's my beef with MLS. That's what it is.
The numbers came out for viewership during the MLS Bacchus tournament. The championship game got 340,000 people. Now, at first, I was like, in a country of 365 million people, they got
a tenth of 1% or something.
Yeah, I don't know math, but it's less than 1%. I know that. I don't know, man. It's not good. There's a couple of other games that are a little higher in the tournament. These are pretty low numbers. A lot of people are complaining they don't know where to find the games. All the games are on different times. Like in England, there's like a noon kickoff game. You know when the games are. With MLS, you're like, I don't know when they are, what channel they're on, ESPN, Fox, what's my local station. It's too hard it's too much work. And once it becomes too much work, people aren't going to watch. And so they have to change this mentality.
No, but here's the difference. Premier League gets good numbers, and up until NBC took the Premier League rights over, it was a challenge to get Premier League matches on. Like you had to hunt. When it was on Fox or these other places, it wasn't easy. But people, because of the quality of it, people went through the hassle to search it out.
That's true.
I don't think you could put it on regular NBC, like local television, or ABC or whatever, or on ESPN or what. Like just make it super easy. But if you tune in to watch it, and you're like, we have to raise the quality. If we get this is why I always go back to that. We should have a 5 DP rule, and not only do you get 5, you have to use 5, and then there's a minimum amount that you have to pay them, so that it forces you into going and getting good players, because then you're not going to spend money on a shit player. So we need to do something to raise the level up, because in too many of the matches, like look, when you had the Galaxy versus LAFC, when Vela was going against Zlatan, that was good. That was exciting. It was fun to watch. The quality was there.
Look, Beckham would get you 60, 70,000 people at Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
That tells you all. That tells you that just backs up your point. We like stars. The NBA, their popularity based on stars. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe.
It's not stars just for the stars' sake. It's stars because the quality is good.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan, all these players
that are the best doing what they do. You don't want to see their first-round draft pick out of Xavier, you're like, okay, cool. I mean, that's fine. But that's
we're watching not Jay Berhalter. We're watching the Berhalter's kid play for the Crew. He played 1 year in college, and he's good college player.
He's good, man.
But a college player does not make it in the Premier League. No. Before we lose our whole audience, because we're talking about MLS, let's end this thing.
I got you.
All right, Eric, it's get off my lawn time. We didn't really talk about the Nations League much because I wanted to bash the hell out of it right now. I want UEFA to get off my lawn. This Nations League thing, whatever, cup, trophy, tournament. Do they get something? I don't know what the hell it is. Less is more. Less is more. We have a so this is not a club competition. This is for nations in Europe. We already have the Europas. We already have the World Cup. We have the Olympics. We don't need this. And I understand this league, this Nations League, was meant to replace the friendlies that are meaningless. Bad idea. This is you said it perfectly in a text to me. This is a money grab. And I didn't watch one game. I saw some highlights. I saw Mbappe score. But I don't know. It sounds like the game, England won, but they sound like they were terrible, by the way. I didn't watch one single game in this past week of games. I think there's more games tomorrow. And I'm pissed off at UEFA for even doing this. So get off my lawn, take your wallets with you, and take your pennies, because that's what this is, change. Here, how much money is this really worth? So come on. Less is more.
I feel that.
Thank you.
Yeah. My Gomel this week goes to England internationals, Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood. They were on international duty in Iceland, and they got carried away. So
they're young. They're young.
Yeah, so they were chatting for a few days before the match with some Icelandic models.
Some birds.
Or an Icelandic model and her cousin or whatever. Very reputable, nice young women, apparently. Yeah. And decided that they would sneak them into the team hotel, breaking social distancing and quarantine rules.
They're lonely. They're lonely.
Putting their teammates, themselves, the women, everybody.
So selfish. It's so selfish.
Now, here's my real issue. They're going to probably, because they're superstars, this won't be a career ender. No. But you got to think about, you've waited your whole life to get your first call up, to be included in the team, and you've gone out and done something that is a complete disaster. I mean, why? You had to know that this was a bad plan. Like, you really, really did.
When you're 18 and 19 years old, that's how you think, said. Man.
Like, I made a poor decision, he says. Phil Foden issues groveling apology for inviting girls into England hotel room as Mason Greenwood deletes Twitter. Now, that is the most reasonable reaction that anybody's had to any of this stuff. He probably just went, look, this could be a career ender. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm not messing with it. I'm not doing anything. You should probably go and get rid of the Snapchat, too, because I think he met the girls on Snapchat. I don't think he met them on Twitter. And so
you don't give them a pass for their age, though. You don't give them a pass.
I give them a pass because I looked up the pictures and I was like, look, it makes perfect sense. The guys, they're young guys.
They got money. They're good looking.
Yeah, people have needs. What are you going to do? Look, I don't know that you jeopardize your whole national team from doing something like that. Maybe you sneak out instead of sneaking them back in, or I don't know if there's a good answer to this. I'm not telling him. This is why I didn't put them in my bell end. I don't think they're bad people. I think they did what a lot of stupid young men would do, but they're held to a higher standard, and there's more expectations from them. So, look, keep it in your pants until international duty's over, and get off my lawn.
All right, Eric, I'm going to ask you something. It's something I've asked you in the past, or we've discussed in the past. We said, what would be a good season for Christian Pulisic last year? We said before the Chelsea season started, and I think you went with the 7-7, 7 goals, 7 assists, right?
Yep.
You said, hey, if he does that, that's a good season for him. And he surpassed that, so we decided he had a good season. So now that Weston McKennie has moved to Juventus, which we are so excited about. Like, I went on the Juventus site. I've never gone on the Juventus site. I've been on it 3 times today to look at his interview. He had some photos. They showed Weston. He was on the front of the website. I was like, this is cool. What would be a good season for Weston McKennie? Well, now, he's not a stat guy like Pulisic. He's not going to score goals and assists.
It doesn't lend itself to, loads of goals and assists.
Starts. I think we talked about it a little last week. Let's say there's 40 games in the –
Starts or appearances? Okay.
He starts and appearances.
I think if he gets 10 starts and 25 appearances, I think it would be happy. Less than that, I don't know. I'm thinking something went wrong if he's not. Because for him to, the more he makes means the better he's done, and that he actually fit in, and that they see him as a real member of that team. If you're not making a lot, that means something's gone wrong in training, or you've had a couple shockers in matches, and they don't see you in that way. And that's what really worries me. That's the part that.
So you're going to be shocked by this. I think, from reading everything and looking through my American glasses here that are unbiased, wink, wink, I think they value this guy more than we think. And I think, just from looking at the website and the money they spent on him, even Juventus, a big club like that likes to spend money, still is a substantial amount. I think he gets a start maybe by the third or fourth game. I think, they want to get his, and I think he's going to play well. And he's going to have some spot starts, whatever. So maybe in the first 10 games, he starts 3, and then he takes off. And I think he gets 25 starts. 25 starts, and he'll make 40 appearances. That includes Champions League, Italian, Coppa Italia, not Coppa Italia. What is it called? What is the Italian?
It's Coppa Italia, isn't it?
It is, right? Okay. All those tournaments, he'll get 40 appearances. Champions League, Serie A, all that. And I think 25 starts overall. I really do. So I'm putting that down, 25 and 40. That would be significant.
That would be.
I would almost say that's a bet, no matter what he does, because that means he's playing well. That would be a better season than Belusic.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So,
I think I was asking myself that question, actually. You didn't even need to answer. All right, what do you got for me?
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you, because I kind of talked about my feelings about MLS on this, and you've been much more involved in it and follow it a lot more closely. Where do you really feel the quality level is? Not you got to take the crew out of this, because I'm emotionally involved now. Like I said, I've watched every match this season. I'm looking forward to going to the new stadium. We're doing really well. That papers over a lot of the cracks. But how do you feel about the quality of MLS?
Look, we're not even the best. We're not the best league in North America. The Mexican league is better, so we're not even the best in this region, and it's not a very strong region. It's the quality is still not good. I will say it's gotten better in that we've gotten this Latin American flavor, and we've gone younger. I like that, and I feel like we're getting towards that kind of Dutch league feel where we get players young, and then we sell them just a little bit older for money, and we'll be a selling league. And we're not going to go for the Higuains, who are 32. We're seeing less of that, I think. I think the bigger clubs are always going to do that. The LAFCs, the LA Galaxy, some of the bigger clubs will go for those names for the hell of it and just hopefully hit a home run like Zlatan. But overall, I think we're going younger, so we've gotten better. Now, that means we're probably still like the 20th best league in the world, somewhere in that range. And that's when you've got the Premier League, which is number 1, and you and I watch it every week, and then you have to watch the 20th best version of something, it's rough. It's rough. Because we watched the crew because we fell in love with this city, Columbus. You are from California. I'm from New York. We fell in love. You're not an LA Galaxy fan or an LAFC fan. I'm not a New York City FC or Red Bull fan. We're Columbus Crew fans. We're invested in something. But the bottom line is when you get rid of all that and you look at the quality, it's not good. It's not good. Pedro Santos, who's one of our best players, he played in Portugal, but pretty low level in Portugal. Zelarayan is one of our best players, biggest signing ever. He was good down in Mexico, but he wasn't starting every game.
But you see the quality difference in what he does compared to the general other competition, the other players around him.
Right.
Not in our team. I'm talking about when we line up against other teams. He doesn't even look like he has to work hard to do the things.
No. Oh, he did some dribbling the other day around like 4 guys. I was like, Zelarayan is good. Yeah. But that's the problem. It's fool's gold because we looked at Nagby, and I think I went a little crazy one week saying, why isn't that guy in Europe? Why wasn't he in Europe? And I'm like, look who he's playing against.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't. You can see, a player, if he was in Europe and came to MLS, I'd be like, okay, he's an American player. He didn't do great over in Europe. He's probably good enough, lower level in Europe, but he's dominating in MLS. I don't know about Nagby. Maybe he wouldn't do a thing in Europe.
You're absolutely right. What's the number one thing that Caleb Porter complains about every single time when they interview him at halftime, which is another funny thing. But he's
I wouldn't know. I don't get to see the games. I don't have cable.
Oh yeah. It's too slow. He says it's too slow. That's
what Jose says. Even in the Premier League, he's like, too slow. Come on, pick up the speed.
But when it's slow like that, and you're Nagby, it gives you more time to do the things that you do.
Right.
If you go up a couple levels, those spaces and that time isn't there. It makes it a lot harder to do that stuff. That's where the real
speed of play in the Premier League. How fast you have to make decisions.
Oh
MLS, the defenses are terrible in MLS.
You have a lot of time on the ball.
And goalkeeping, pretty horrendous in MLS. Yeah. You probably out of the 20 whatever teams we have, 24. There's 2 or 3 really good goalies that could play in Europe. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Who already played in Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. The rest are bad.
Yeah. The quality, though, look, I'll say this. The quality has steadily gotten better.
But it was bad at the beginning.
No, it was okay. It was a joke, and then has gotten respectable, but it needs to make another jump. In my opinion, if we're ever going to get to the point where people seek it out, where they are willing to go jump through all the hoops and look for it, we're going to have to elevate that level. That's all.
No. So, but hey, it's all we got here in the States. It's the only thing we can see live, except when these European teams come here. So, I'd rather have it than not have it.
Well, look, I'll take it until the Crew goes on a 4-game losing streak and I'm out.
In 10 years, we'll leave it on that. All right, Eric, it's Bell and Award time. You know how I like to sneak in a few Bellins, before I get to my real one. Yeah. It would have been Bartomeu from Barcelona, but I feel like we talked about him already. We already know he's a prick. So it's not him. You brought up Phil Foden and Greenwood. Yep. But you know what? I give them a pass because of their age. They're totally young and they make mistakes. I couldn't give them a Bellin. That was too harsh. My Bellin Award is, and for different reasons here, Ronald Koeman of Barcelona, the coach of Barcelona. I give him the Bellin for taking this job. Why did you take this job? First of all, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know how they sold this to him. Maybe the president said, hey, look, Messi's not going to be here. He wants to be gone, and I'm going to let him go. Get rid of Suarez and a couple other players, and then it's your team for a year till Xavi comes or something, right?
Yeah.
And he's probably like, you know what the hell, I'll do it for a year, right? There's no way I don't think, maybe that happened, but once Koeman got the job, what a prick. The way he dealt with Suarez, the way he dealt with Messi, where he says, hey, I don't want to coach players who don't want to be here. Well, Messi doesn't want to be there. So now what? What are you going to do with him, Ronald Koeman? You have taken this job. You are going to – there's no way he's going to win. I guarantee he doesn't survive the year. Messi and him will – Messi still controls that club.
Oh,
I don't care. And he's going to get Koeman fired somehow, some way.
Oh,
so I nominate Ronald Koeman for my Bellin Award this week, and I hope he appears on this list at least 4 or 5 more times so he can win the big award. So that's what I got for you. You are my Bellin Award, Ronald Koeman. And I've heard Koeman, whatever the hell your name is, Ronnie K. You're my Bellin Award. Koeman.
It's nice. You get some corn and you really sprinkle
some Ronald Koeman.
Yeah, Koeman. All right, my Bellin Award this week goes to Triple G Greg Berhalter.
I love when you get on him. It's my favorite.
It's been a while, right? So our friends over at 11 Yanks Twitter page, they're at
11 Wanks?
Yanks. 11 Wanks. Look, Do not go to 11 Wanks Twitter page. Okay,
don't do that at work. Don't do that at work.
Especially if you're at work. No good. Yanks, like Yankees.
Gotcha.
So Berhalter came out with this quote about Christian Pulisic. And said,
I heard it.
If he can keep this level, he can play for the world's biggest clubs like Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid. Why are you fucking around with Chelsea like that? If you really want him to be released to come
Chelsea's
to
a big-ass club.
Yes. He's there. He's in the Premier League. He's in the best league in the world.
It's not like he's at Watford. He's not at like – oh.
So our friends at 11 Yanks said it best. It said, it's like Greg can't open his mouth without his sticking his foot in it. Chelsea have helped Pulisic improve as a player far more than Greg ever has. It's just disrespectful. How did we get stuck with this guy? No, again, we've gone over this to death. We don't need to cover it anymore. But there was an opportunity to like really hire someone that was a quality manager with a vision that had relationships with people around the world, and we didn't do it. We got Triple G. I don't know why he can't do it. If I'm Chelsea, if I'm Lampard and I read that shit, I'm like, oh, yeah, guess what? He's got a tight hammy. He's not going to be making it till October camp. Oh, well, he's got that. Gold Cup. We're on the summer tour, so the Gold Cup's not really going to work. Berhalter's going to get like about 2 matches out of 20 with Pulisic showing up.
I'd stick it to him if I was Lampard. I'd do it in a minute.
You're not shit. I'm not releasing him. You're done. So for being a complete dipshit that you are, Greg Berhalter, you are my Ballon d'Or winner. All right, it's time for this week's Twitter shoutouts. As always, a big thank you to Andrew Wells. He's at Wellsy95 NUFC. We appreciate you, buddy. Looking forward to our preview show coming up later this week. I'm also a giant thank you to at RealUSMNT. This account posts everything you need to know about the U.S. men's national team and their shitty coach, Greg Berhalter. And they've been retweeting for us every week. We really appreciate it. The Shoot the Defense podcast, they're at Shoot the Defense. The Ball Chat podcast, they're at Ball Chat 1. And the Bryant and Me podcast, they're at Bryant and Me. Again, thanks for all those retweets. We really appreciate it. A couple of things I saw this week that I really liked that made me laugh. Troll Football, killing it as always, has the 4 pictures, and the first one's Chelsea. And the guy's like, I can explain. And then you've got Arsenal. You've signed 6 players. We've only signed 2. And then you've got Manchester United. You've signed 2 players. We've only signed 1. And then you've got Liverpool. And this guy, this real confused looking dude, it's like, you all signed first-team players in the Corona time? That is amazing. Wayne Horath, he's at KOIANU. He was replying to Footy Threads. It said, I've always said it. Ronaldo is what happens when potential meets hard work. Messi is what happens when God makes a footballer. I think that really is like, he said it best. You always have the Ronaldo Messi kind of guys. Ronaldo's supremely talented, but driven to improve and get better and just be the best. Messi just touched by God. Mr. Richard Masters, it's at 17-Week Warrior. So it's a fake Richard Masters, the Premier League guy page. It says, Chelsea taking their spending to around $250 million. Isn't it great to see the top 6 clubs strengthening so much with their wealthy owners? Also keeps that important gap that we like between them and the bottom half sides.
It's kind of rough.
I mean, that's pretty much what they do. Yeah. Brazil football at Brazil edition. Coutinho, quote, I have brought the Champions League back to the Camp Nou while showing his medal to his Barca teammates in practice. That's good. I love that. Oh, God, because he got murdered by the Barca fans.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he gets loaned out, goes and wins the Champions League. He's got to come back just like, who's laughing now, suckers? So anyway, that's all I got this week. We did it again. We wasted an extremely long amount of time. If you've made it this far, congratulate yourself. Go get a beer or something.
Really. Hey, and look for our preview later this week with our boy Wellesley. He knows something more than Newcastle. I swear he does.
No, he did.
By the way, we didn't get to our Fudos this week. We ran out of time because the show's like 3 hours. Earlier, I talked about a player named Wilson who was on Swansea from Liverpool. It was Rian Brewster. I was getting them confused. Brewster was on loan at Swansea, and he scored a bunch of goals in the championship. This past year.
No.
He was alone. Yeah, he was.
Really?
Part of the season, not all the season.
Oh,
but yeah.
okay. All right.
So I got a little confused. I didn't want anybody to think I was crazier than I really am, but it's a major fudo. It's a major
foo. It's just a foo.
All right, brother. Good talking to you, and we'll talk next week.
Stay safe.
Later.
That's our show for this week. Please check us out on Twitter at @rash_podcast, on Facebook at 2 Rash Challenges, or email us at 2rashchallenges@gmail.com. Also check out our website, 2rashchallenges.com, where you can find articles, videos, and photos. And if you like the show, tell a friend, and make sure you go to iTunes and give us a review. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, for Eric, our producer and engineer Ezra Jack Lewis, our main man on the streets Andrew Wells, and myself, we say cheers.